everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. So yesterday I was walking around the garden. I was just taking a look at everything that's looking so good right now, and then everything else that's kind of coming to the end of its season. And one thing that I noticed when I was walking around is that there was so much life in my garden, which made me so happy. So last year around this time, when I would walk around the garden, one of the things that I noticed is that there was no life. There was no bees, there was no butterflies, there was no insects buzzing around of any kind. Really, the only thing that was here was the bunnies. I don't know if you all remember the bunnies that we used to have. We do not have that problem anymore. I have not seen them really since we got Monty. So thank you to Monty for taking care of the bunnies. But since last year, we've been working really hard on adding life into this garden. We've been adding a lot of plants, a lot of blooms, a lot of areas for bugs to habitat so that we can get some more, a more balanced ecosystem in this garden. And walking around last night, I really saw the life that was here, and it made me really, really happy. So I thought what I wanted to do today is take you all around and show you some of the insects that I have in my garden. Insects, pests, basically bugs, right? And go over whether they're good bugs or bad bugs, because I have lots of bad bugs in my garden, what we would consider bad bugs. The difference is I'm not worried about these bad bugs because I know these bad bugs provide food for the good bugs that I do want in my garden. So I don't want to overcorrect. I don't want to cause an imbalance in my ecological system that I have in my garden right now. So I'll point them out and I'll show them all to you, ones that I'm kind of keeping an eye on to make sure that they don't get out of control. But a little bit of pests in the garden is okay. So let me get started with a bad bug, a bug that I don't like having in my garden that's considered a pest, and that is aphids. You can see, can you guys see the hummingbird up there? Let me see if I can zoom in. Cute. So we all should be pretty familiar with aphids, and if you're not familiar with aphids, congratulations, but they are such a pest in the garden. They're so annoying, and they can really do some damage to your plants if you let it get out of hand. I am showing you my purple hyacinth bean right here because this purple hyacinth bean has been inundated with aphids this whole year. One thing I want you guys to notice is that you can see the kind of wet areas underneath the leaves of this. Now, that is not water. That is actually what's known as honeydew. It's very sticky. It's sweet. Ants like eating this. If you walk underneath a tree and you notice a sticky sap all on the ground, I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is all sticky right here. That is honeydew, which is basically aphid poop, and it's disgusting, but it is a really easy indicator to see if you have aphids. Another bug that I'll tell you guys about in a little bit called whiteflies also secrete honeydew. So it could be whiteflies, but I can tell these are aphids because I can actually see them on the leaves. You can see these are aphids here. They're kind of just little guys, and there's a bunch of different kinds of aphids. So aphids are soft-bodied insects, and they basically suck the sap out of the leaves and really cause quite a lot of damage. They really like new growth. So if you look, I don't know, the sun's in the way. If you look up here, we have the new growth to the purple hyacinth bean up above my pergola, and it's just covered with aphids right there. Another aphid that I found in my garden are these black aphids. You can see these on the purple hyacinth beans that I have in my Vigo garden bed area. So it seems like the purple hyacinth beans are, you know, host plants for aphids this year. They're all over them, and it's very, very frustrating. And I'm basically ready to take them out. Can you guys see that right there? So we've got the small white aphids, we've got the black aphids, and then I also want to show you over here, I found some green aphids on my roses, my rosebuds. And this is where most people notice aphids on their plants, is on their rosebuds. You can kind of just squish them like that. Gross, I know. So even though I just showed you 3 different kinds of aphids, I showed you the white ones or the light colored ones, the green ones, and the black ones, it doesn't matter what kind you have. They're all considered aphids and they're all treated the same. So don't be worried if you have black aphids or red aphids. They're all just aphids and you're going to treat them the same way. So there's a couple different ways to treat them and you have to decide what works best for you. What you can do is you can spray them off either with a water bottle, like a spray bottle, or a hose, a strong stream on the hose. I don't really like doing that because I think the plants wave too much in the stream of the hose. So I actually like squishing them with my hands. I used to wear gloves when I did this because it would gross me out, but now I'm just so annoyed with aphids that I'll just squish them with my fingers like you just saw me do on my rosebuds, and that seems to take care of them pretty well. Now, I usually don't have a massive outbreak of aphids, and if I do, I would use something called insecticidal soap. And what insecticidal soap is it's just kind of like a soapy liquid that you spray all over the plant. And what the soapy liquid does is it actually suffocates the pests. What it does is it breaks down their protective coating on their body and it causes them to like lose all the water that they have inside their body, and they basically dehydrate and they die. So it works really, really well, but you don't need to use that right off the bat. Like you just saw, I have quite a lot of aphids, especially going on right here, but I'm not too worried about it because I have seen some beneficial bugs in the area as well. So I'm not going to do anything with these aphids other than maybe squish them on my roses. I know my first frost is coming soon, in about 8 weeks. And so I know that all these aphids are going to be dead by then anyway. So I'm not going to make any huge decisions or huge changes in my garden because, again, I don't want to upset that eco balance that I have here. So right over there, I have aphids on my roses. And then right over here, I have aphids on my purple hyacinth bean. But right in between the two, I have my bay tree right here. And I noticed a good bug on this bay tree. So if you look at the underside of these leaves, you can see there's little white eggs hanging from hair-like structures. And what those are lacewing eggs. Very, very special. Lacewings are what you would call a beneficial bug. And these guys, it's not the adults. The adults' lacewings look like this, and they're gonna be flying around. You're probably gonna see them at night when you turn on like your porch light or something like that. What's really special about these guys is once these eggs hatch, can you see that one right there? The larvae are the things that are going to eat the aphids. They're going to eat aphids, they're going to eat spidermites, which I have some spidermites on this plant too. They're going to eat whiteflies. They're going to eat a bunch of bugs, which is so fantastic. So seeing these little structures, these are not bad. These are actually really good. And so if you see something like this in your garden, you want to leave them and you want to say, thanks. Is there anything else I can do for you? Look at that. Isn't that cool? So this is what would be considered a beneficial bug. So it's good. I'm happy that I see this. Yes, it's annoying to have aphids. Yes, it's annoying to have spider mites, but I do have the beneficial bugs that are going to come in. And these guys right here are the reason why you don't want to overcorrect when you see aphids or whiteflies or spider mites. If I sprayed a systemic, which is basically going to kill everything in the garden, it would kill the lacewings and it would kill the lacewing larvae right here, and I would not have these guys. And so then that means when the aphids came back, there would be nothing waiting to hatch, waiting to eat all of those aphids to keep them in check. So this to me shows that I have balance in my garden. Very exciting to see. And if you see this in your garden, this is a good thing. So one of the ways that you can encourage lacewings into your garden is, one, to have blooming plants basically all season long, or as much as you can. So because I'm doing my monthly blooming garden, I know that I'm going to have lots and lots of blooms in this garden all year long, and it's going to support those lacewings, which I want in my garden. There are host plants for lacewing larvae. Cilantro and dill are two of them right off the top of my head. So you can plant host plants, but honestly, you don't need to. A bay tree is not even technically a host plant, but you can see they are all over that tree, which is very exciting. Good bug. Look at the bees. Look at the pollen on his legs. Isn't that cute? He's got little pantaloons. So coming over here to my dahlias, I want to show you all a bad bug in the garden. Let me see if I can find a good example. There we go. This is what spidermite damage looks like. Can you see the little dots, like the stippling on the back of the leaves over here? There's a bunch over right there. What these are is these are little 8-legged mites, and they are part of the arachnid family. They're not actually spiders, but they are the kind of same thing as aphids. They actually suck the sap out of the leaves, and that's why the leaves get kind of like a stippling effect, because the spider mites are sucking the sap, sucking the stuff that creates photosynthesis out of the leaves, and they can cause major issues. If it gets to be too much, they can just take all the sap and then the leaves turn brown. They can't photosynthesize anymore, and it just becomes a major, major issue. You might not see the webs that spider mites can create. If it gets so bad, you'll see the webs, but if you see something like this, that's spider mite damage as well. Now, you might be tempted, if you see something like this, you might be tempted to spray really strong stuff. You don't want to do that, again, because what is eating these spider mites, there's a bunch of things that eat them, lacewings and ladybugs, but there's something called predatory mites, and there's predatory mites that are living on the backs of these leaves just like the spider mites are, and those predatory mites are eating the spider mites. So if you kill those predatory mites, the spider mites are going to come back with a vengeance, and so you want to make sure that you don't do that. So spider mites are extremely annoying, but probably the best way to deal with them is to make your garden an environment that they don't like being in. So spider mites like being in hot gardens. They really like plants that are heat stressed and water stressed. So just making sure that your plants are getting enough water. And then if you live in a hot area like I do, a non-humid area, you can come through and you can spray your plants with water overhead, which we're always told not to do, but it's actually a good thing for a garden that deals with spider mites a lot like my garden does. So if spraying with water or waiting for the beneficial bugs to take care of the issue isn't working, if you have too much of a problem in your garden and it's really damaging your plants or ornamental plants, what you can do is you can use that same insecticidal soap. The insecticidal soap is going to coat the plant, coat the leaves, and it's also going to coat the bodies of the mites. It's going to cause them to dehydrate, basically suffocate, and basically die. So it's an easy way that's not going to harm the beneficial bugs, but it's still going to take care of the bad bugs. When you do spray insecticidal soap, you want to spray it in the evening where we don't have the sun right overhead, because that can cause issues like burning on the leaves. And plus, it's going to mean if you do it in the evening, that's going to mean that all the butterflies and the bees are gone to bed, so you don't have to worry about spraying them. Okay, let's head back into the front garden, the orchard garden, because I did notice signs of another beneficial bug over here on my rose. So a lot of you are going to recognize what's going on here pretty quickly, probably, but if you see leaves specifically on your roses that have little holes cut out or half moon shapes cut out like that, this is not a problem. This is actually a good thing. It's kind of annoying because it doesn't look great, but this is signs of what are called leaf cutter bees. Leaf cutter bees are solitary bees. They're sweet. They're not going to come and sting you unless you, like, I don't know, step on it or something like that. And they cut out little half moon shapes of leaves to stuff into their tunnels where they nest to separate their egg cocoons. And so the mama bees, the mama leafcutter bees, are doing this for their babies, which is really cute. And the leafcutter bees actually are fabulous, fabulous pollinators, especially in the summer when it's hot and all the other bees, like the mason bees, aren't working very well anymore. So it's really great to see something like this, although it's very annoying. And, you know, if you're really, if you're like a rosarian and you really want your roses to be perfect, yes, it's going to be annoying, but this is a great thing to see in your garden. Really, really good. All right, now for a bad bug in the garden. We are looking at the lettuce that I'm growing, and you can see on the back of this lettuce leaf, these little white fly looking things. If I kind of brush them, they'll fly all around. gross. These are aptly named whiteflies, and they are very, very annoying. They are another soft-bodied insect that is going to suck the juices out of the leaves. They are just more annoying than they are bad. If they get really out of control, they can kind of do the same thing that aphids or spidermites do and basically cause stippling on the leaves and make it so that the plant can't complete photosynthesis. Now, these are another bug in the garden that you don't really want to overcorrect. You can spray insecticidal soap again to get rid of them, but I would only do that if it's like a massive problem. What you just saw right here on my lettuce, not worried about at all. Not worried about that at all. Ladybugs, lacewings, birds, spiders, they're all going to take care of the whitefly population that you have. You can also use the trick to spray a stream of water on them. What that's going to do is that's going to cause the whiteflies to fly away, so it's not really going to kill the whiteflies. What it's going to do is it's going to spray off the whitefly larvae that the whiteflies have laid underneath the leaves, and that's going to help decrease the population over time. So you have to keep coming out and spraying and spraying and spraying, but it's going to work. Now, like I said, over here, ladybugs, lacewings, birds, and spiders will deal with whiteflies. And as you can see, I have a little friend right here. Hopefully you can see that. So what I have right here is called an Orbweaver Spider, otherwise known as a garden spider. They are gross looking. I don't like them, but they're a beneficial pest to have in your garden. It's a good thing to have these guys. They are docile. They are non-aggressive. You can see she doesn't even care that I'm here. She's a little scared, and if I get any closer, I think she'll probably run away. The most annoying thing about these spiders is this circular web that she's going to weave, and she's basically going to weave this every single night. So if I came and I knocked down the spider web, she would just weave it again almost right in the same place, unless I was really persistent, which I actually have been persistent when I had one on my front patio that kept weaving her web right in the place when we walk through outside the sliding glass door. So it was not a good place to have a spider web. So that one finally left. This one I've left here for the last month or so because it is eating whiteflies, it's eating mosquitoes, it's eating flies, annoying flies, it's eating gnats. It is a good beneficial bug to have in the garden if you can get over the fact that it's a gross giant spider. But it's not scary. It's something that's good. It's not something that you should be spraying spider spray or getting really worried about like black widows. It is something that's good to have in your garden. So I'm back in the center island. Look at how good the center island's looking. Jason and I were out here this morning and we were getting really excited about the progress. I wanted to show you this plant right here. This plant, El Nino Chitalpa, it's like its own little biological ecosystem. It's really, really funny. And hopefully you can see the dragonfly that's right there. So on this plant, I have dragonflies, I have aphids, I have lacewings, I have ladybugs, I have ants. I found all of this on this plant, which I just thought was so funny. But I wanted to show you all ladybugs. So we all know what ladybugs look like, right? They're great. They're going to eat spidermites, they're going to eat aphids, they're going to eat whiteflies. They're going to eat so much stuff. They're such a fabulous thing to have in the garden. Where did you go, bud? The thing, though, the amount of bugs or pests that adult ladybugs can eat is nothing compared to what ladybug larvae can eat. Now, it's not the time of year, I don't think, for ladybug larvae, and I can't find any, but I wanted to show you what they look like. So when you see these creepy, creepy creatures in your garden, you know to leave them alone because they are going to eat so many of the bad bugs, which is absolutely fabulous. And you want to make sure that they stay happy and the ladybugs keep reproducing in your garden, because they're going to create these voracious eaters that are going to eat so many bad bugs in your garden. Where is that lacewing egg? Oh, right there. I don't know if you guys can see that. Everything here is so small. It's kind of hard to show you guys, but right there, there's another lacewing egg. So anyway, I'm finding a whole system, and then you can see I have a whole bunch of aphids on the undersides of these leaves too. So I should come in here and I should spray them with water, but the ladybugs are super happy right now on this plant. And this dragonfly is going for something, I don't know what. And then the last pest or bug I wanted to tell you all about is one that a lot of people consider as like neutral, not good, not bad, and that is praying mantids or praying mantis. So I like praying mantis. I like having them in my garden. I think they're really good. The thing about praying mantids are they are non-discriminatory. So they will eat good bugs just as much as they will eat bad bugs. But if you have a lot of bad bugs in your garden, like I do, they're going to eat a lot of bad bugs. They will eat good bugs. They will eat hummingbirds, which is terrible. I saw a picture on the internet. Don't search for it. It's really, really gross. So if you see praying mantids in your garden, I think they're a great thing. I think you should leave them alone unless you see them on a hummingbird feeder. Then just take a stick and move them out of the way. The other thing I wanted to show you is the ootheca, which is the egg sacs of the praying mantids. And if you see this, you want to leave it. You're going to see it around this time of year because late summer, fall is when the mama praying mantids will lay their egg sacs, and the babies, there's hundreds of them, will grow all throughout the winter. Then in spring, they'll hatch and you'll have tiny little praying mantids running around, which are called nymphs. And if you haven't seen them, they're very, very cute. So a lot of people are neutral about praying mantids. You can actually purchase them, like you can purchase ladybugs. That works because praying mantids don't go as far as ladybugs do, so it's supposed to work a little bit better than ladybugs. But again, they eat the good bugs as much as they eat the bad bugs. So kind of a neutral one, but in my mind, I think of them as a good guy. All right, that is it for my little pest in the garden tour today. The point for showing you all this is, one, so that you can recognize the bugs that you have in your garden. Recognizing them is most important thing, right? You want to know what's going on so that you know how to treat it or not to treat it, or to be concerned or not to be concerned. You just kind of got to know, you got to educate yourself. So I think the best way to educate yourself is just to keep looking it up online, keep watching videos like this where you can see pictures of it, and pretty soon you'll get it. You'll get it eventually, and you'll feel more comfortable walking around the garden and saying, oh, that's a white fly. Oh, that's a spider mite, or something, you know, whatever it is. So educating yourself and learning to recognize the pests in your garden, whether they're good and they're bad. Then the other thing I wanted to show you all with today's video is it's okay to have some bad bugs in your garden. The worst thing that you could do is find some bad bugs, go out and buy a super, super strong insecticide or pesticide and spray your whole garden. Ask me how I know, because what that's going to do is that's going to kill all the good bugs as well that we saw today. And so your garden, you basically will be starting over. You'll have nothing left in your garden, and the bad bugs move faster than the good bugs do. So you don't want to kill those good bugs. You want to take care of them. You want to cherish them, and they'll take care of the bad bugs for you. You want a balance in your garden. You want an ecosystem. You want everybody to be happy. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.